Hello and happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of Walk-Ins Welcome, where we are all about helping you triple your revenue through digital marketing services, and today, exceptional patient experience.
Yeah, so today we were thinking about different episode topics, and this one is more a little broader stroke, but it has a huge impact because the reality is if we can get you patients in the door, we can get them all the way to your check-in point. But after that, it's all on you.
That's right.
And you can really mess things up by some simple, we're going to talk about 5 different things to pay attention to. But these things actually can turn from an okay experience to a really bad experience, or it can turn an okay experience to a really great experience. And it's kind of subtle, honestly. So I named the episode Approachability equals Profitability.
Yes.
And this was inspired, one, thank you, Devin, but two, based on something very recent we had happen where we were discussing with a new medical client and trying to make them become a client. And within the meeting, they basically kind of said, we're more approachable, or I'll let Nick explain that because he was in the meeting, I was not. But
yeah, I think there's a few things there. Is one, we brought competence to the table. Like and I'm not just saying that, like that's what they told us.
Yeah.
Hey, you seem to know what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Like you have what's called a clue about digital marketing for patient care, right?
Same idea with doctors. You have a clue.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you appear to not be a fraud, and that's in our world a thing. But also, we had genuine conversation with them. My goal, I know you would expect that my goal would have been to sell them our services. That would have been the end result, not the goal. The goal was to serve them and serve them well.
Yeah.
Right. And so we spent a lot of time talking about their needs, their desires, their goals, and they were already working with another agency. And to be, quite honest with you, we were more expensive, or are more expensive than another agency.
Yeah. Like
right?
price was not the deciding factor.
That's right. But they wound up moving forward with us as their agency of choice. And a lot of it had to do with the approachability of how we did things. We didn't talk over their head. We didn't act like we were better than anybody.
We were just honest.
I'm not going to tell you what they said, but we didn't act like we were the squeeze. We were the stuff.
Insert another S word.
Pick another S word, right? But we tried not to bring that kind of arrogance to the table. I don't always bring up Dave Ramsey, but sometimes I do. One of the things that he says a lot that sticks with me is just have the heart of a teacher.
Yeah.
Right? Have the heart of a teacher. So in anything that I do when I'm doing a presentation, or here's a great thing for you as a medical provider, is bring that heart of a teacher. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. Right. Like, or I don't know funny. If I'm in a chiropractor, I don't know why my lower back hurts. I just wanted to stop.
Yeah.
It's very simple that you could just have a conversation with me and teach me the problem, teach me about it. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty capable of understanding. Right. So that's that heart of a teacher that comes along. That is what makes you approachable in the patient care space and in the digital marketing space.
Well, and I even think about how if you've ever been sold something or attempted to be sold something, a sale like the traditional salesman that doesn't know anything other than they want your money, when they say, this is what I'm selling, this is what it is, they go straight for the kill.
What's it going to take for us to get you in this car today?
Right. Not hating on car dealerships, but that's the most traditional used car mentality.
Right.
But they go straight for the kill. Like, what can I do to get this job done so I can make my money? And this is the part, like, I think car dealership people hate me because I know too much about the cars that they're trying to sell me. And so they know nothing about the car or anything about the process. They just want you to sign a piece of paper, and then they hand you off to the F&I person, and they're done. Like, they did their part.
What did you say?
F&I, finance and insurance.
Oh, okay. I thought you were, I don't know. I was like, what's the F&I?
Yeah, so finance and insurance. Anyway, I heard that phrase said to my brain so many times from a previous company.
Okay. So this is me not knowing any better.
There you go.
See, anyway, you were super approachable just then, and I appreciate that.
Well, but that's the thing. So you know when you're trying to be sold, right?
Right.
And then like something we teach here in general, like the goal is to educate first, like every single time. And then if it makes sense, the sell will happen. Sometimes you got to nudge it to a decision. But the reality is it's that approachability. So let's apply this to our doctors or our medical practices that are listening. You have to be approachable the whole way through, not just the front desk person who has to be the most customer service friendly person you have because they're dealing at the front end.
Right.
But the nurse, the doctor, the checkout procedure. All of that has to be approachable. Like that's the worst thing. Like we'll go through the different things. But that's the worst thing in the world where you feel like the doctor didn't listen to you or even tell you what was going on other than here's a prescription, you'll be okay.
Hey, a doctor's got a doc.
They do.
We get that. Like you're there to do your job, which is to help them get well.
Right.
But do you want them to come back?
Yeah, this is the part that's so important because the reality is if you're like an urgent, or if you're just really any medical, step one is getting them in the door. But then the final step is getting them to come back.
Right.
Because now that experience has been locked in, and if it was a bad one, they're probably not coming back unless you are the only option. And they are very resistant to make that comeback. Because like in today's world, if you're in the retail world of medical, there's options 9 times out of 10. If I didn't, and the pricing, because of insurance and everything, the pricing is kind of the same. So
Right.
you got to compete on that customer service level.
Yeah, if I'm going to come with you with my Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama card, I'm not there because of the price.
No, copay is copay.
So you have quality, convenience,
Out of the triangle.
and price, right? That's the marketing triangle.
Yeah.
You just go ahead and in your space and just cut out price if you accept insurance.
Yeah, because we don't even know what your pricing is. As a consumer, I realize that I can go to a hospital's website and download their price list. But it really doesn't matter because I don't know what's been negotiated because I am using insurance.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, probably 9 out of 10 people are in the exact same boat. They're probably going to look at their insurance to have that negotiated rate. They have no influence over it. So So the P is gone, price is gone.
Yeah.
You got the rest to compete on at that point, right?
Yeah.
But so ask yourself, like, how approachable is your clinic going through the process? And if you just don't know, maybe you should secret shop yourself. Send somebody in that's never been there before. Get them to kind of go through, like, it could just be a checkup, right? You don't have to be sick. Just like, let me have a physical or some sort. Go through the whole thing and let somebody just kind of note stuff and come back to say, how was your experience through the whole thing? We even had one of our clients ask about a patient. I hear a beep noise. One of the clients they hear.
It's out the window.
Yeah, please. Oh, it's gone. Anyway, they were asking about patient satisfaction survey type stuff. So in the questions, it's about the whole experience.
Yeah.
Now, but the only problem is they're getting that after the fact. And so there are probably parts of it they may not remember, or there's one or two that they really care about, and they're going to talk about it and ignore the rest.
I had this really weird experience one time where they were asking me to rate how it was happening while it was happening. Well, you just said, and I can't even really remember what it was. It wasn't medical.
How do you feel right now?
Yeah, but that's the way it was. Like I would go into this one part of whatever it was I was doing, and they were like, "Okay, now rate this part." I'm like, "This is weird."
No,
Like,
that's true. Could you imagine, like, you're sitting in the waiting room and you get a text, "How are you feeling right now?" And 5 minutes later, "How do you feel now?"
Yeah.
How's that going?
Anyway, well, you had said like the survey will go out after the fact, and I'm like, well, when do you send it? Before? Like, I don't really know when else you would send that. Anyway, here's the thing. There's a whole group of things to be approachable. We're really just talking about the person, right?
Yep.
We're talking about your team, how to be approachable as a team.
This is something that is stretched across every aspect of your business that involves people. And we're going to touch on 5 things that they can do to improve.
Go.
These are super simple things they can do. And you can literally make a change next week and start incorporating this. First is body language.
Yes.
Body language is something people sometimes roll their eyes at because that's body language. But the reality is being open, moving, like not closing. Like, here's the thing. If I come up to my doctor or to your doctor or whatnot, and they're talking to me and their arms are just closed, like, yeah, that's the problem. This is what we're going to do about it. I don't feel like I can ask him a question.
Right.
I'm kind of afraid to. It's almost like I'm annoying him or her at the exact same time. So you got to open your arms. You got to relax your posture a little bit. You got to just make it seem like it's okay to talk to me.
Right.
Sometimes it sounds so dumb.
Well, it's really huge though. It wasn't too long ago. I was at my primary physician, and my physician, she's fantastic. Okay. I love her, but her nurse totally could tell was just doing her job. She came in, hold your arm out. Didn't say hello, nothing. Just hold your arm out.
Prick.
Put the blood pressure thing, open your mouth. Here's your temperature. And then she goes, "Doctor will be in here in just a minute." and like didn't even look at me.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's actually one of the things we'll talk about. So like just that whole, so your impression is she didn't want to be there, or you're just a number and I'm just getting through my day,
or she's just way too busy.
and all of a sudden that nurse has made the doctor's job a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because now the conversation's not as open as it could have been. So it sounds super subtle, but my goodness, it makes a huge difference. Just think about the last time you talked to somebody that had their arms closed, didn't want to look at you, or just was short answered.
Well, it's more than just that. Look at all of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even when I walked up to that front desk, the lady, like, so here's a window. I know you can't visualize it, but here's the window on this side, and then here's the front-facing lobby, right? So window, front-facing lobby. Well, she's facing out to the lobby, but I have to go to the window. She didn't turn her chair or nothing. She just handed me a clipboard. Didn't even look at me. Handed me a clipboard. Hey, has anything changed? Like, I get it. I do. I really do.
Funny.
I know it's your job. I do.
And these aren't like extra things, right? Like this is not going to cost them an extra 5 seconds of their time. Like it's literally can be integrated into what they do. It just has to be trained.
Well, this is kind of weird, and I know we're talking about body language, but just think about it from my perspective. But like, we work in a boiler room type situation. All of our desks are in this giant open.
We see
space,
everybody,
right? But you can tell when you're talking to me or anybody's talking to me, the difference on when I back up, lean back in my chair, and I turn and I face them.
Yeah.
Versus when they're talking to me and I'm still clicking away on the computer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's totally different.
And it's like, are you listening?
I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just telling you, the best way to get my attention is to say, hey, Nick, can I ask you a question? I will say, hold on just a second, or I'll stop what I'm doing and I will face you.
And then I'll hear the chair turn, and then I know I'm engaged.
Yeah, and you have my body language. You have my attention.
Yep.
But if you just start talking to me,
yeah,
I'm in the middle of doing something. No, I'm doing.
Well,
something.
and all I can think about, like what you were describing, I imagine, like I forget the cartoon, but a bunch of cartoons that are like next, next, that's all you hear,
right?
And that's. Think about this. Are you like if you're not sure if your clinic's actually doing this or not, just sit in the lobby for an hour or have somebody sit there as they're going through patients and see what happens. And this is not a time to like beat up your staff. This is a time to like, hey, we're going to make some adjustments to make things better for everybody.
Right.
Because also if you adjust that mindset, they may enjoy work more at that point. Right. So anyway, all right, body language. Number 2, smiling.
It's huge.
So like, and here's the thing. This is like an old trick in the book. If in the sales world, if you have to, nobody wants to cold call, right? It's the most painful thing in the world. It's the most painful thing to get on a phone call that's going to have a negative person on the other end half the time. How do you fight that? You smile while you're on the phone.
Right.
And it changes your tone. It does. Like it really changes your tone.
It does.
Like this is me smiling a little bit as I talk. This is me not smiling as I talk.
But you see a little cheesy grin that I constantly have on here because it changes the dynamic of us even doing this podcast.
It really does. And it sounds so simple. But think about the next time.
This is what I sound like whenever I'm just talking.
Yeah. And
this is when I sound like whenever I'm smiling and I'm talking.
It's just a tone shift.
It is.
But think about the next time you go to like a Chick-fil-A. They're always smiling when they take your order.
All right, men, check it out real quick. If you need to know how to do the smile thing, listen to your wife answer the phone. Every woman has a telephone voice.
Customer service voice?
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? They don't care about you. They don't care. Anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah, just listen. If you're a man, listen to your wife. And if you're a woman listening, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just that slight tone. Because I can hear it a mile away on the phone if I get on the phone with somebody that's just not smiling at all. They're like, don't want to be on the phone.
Right.
You can hear the tone. It's usually like deeper and just abrupt.
Well, so think about it. Think about it with Courtney. If she's answering the phone, you can absolutely tell when she's talking to a friend versus somebody she never knew.
That's about anybody too, right?
But I'm just telling you, you have a completely different, polite,
it's kind of like,
mannered voice.
It went from who was that to why did they call?
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up?
Like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
Anyway,
right.
smile.
Smile.
It's contagious. You can pass it on even to people who are in the worst of moods.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so next, eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my word. This is one of those things that it's weird when you don't get proper eye contact, and then it's also weird if someone's forcing eye contact at the same time. So there has to be I have a friend, and she's amazing, but I don't know what it is, but she can't look at you. She has to look up when she talks to you, which is fine. I just gotten used to it.
I got a funny story.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh gosh, this was in college. I hope my best friend Wells is listening because that would crack me up. Anyway, we were out again in college. I think we were at a Taco Bell or a McDonald's or something like that. And there was this girl that was with us. I wasn't dating her or anything. It was nothing like that. It wasn't even a double date. It was just a friend. And there's a group of us, and this girl's sitting right across from me. And Michael, the whole time she's looking at me like this, just off to the side, the whole time. And I didn't have any people skills at the time, right? But I got she would talk to me the whole time like this, like something was wrong. And I finally, I go, just leaned over right into her eyesight. And I was like, why won't you look at me in the eyes? She had some kind of weird vision thing where she was always I totally embarrassed myself. And I'm pretty sure that girl hates me to this day because I embarrassed her so bad. I didn't mean to, but that is a powerful thing is like look people in the eyes when you're talking to them because eventually it's going to frustrate them if you don't.
Well, and that's so I've struggled with that over the years of, I don't know, it kind of gets in my head sometimes to look at people in their eye when they talk to them. And I've realized that, okay, for those who struggle with the idea of looking into someone else's eyes as you're talking to them, it's okay to look toward their nose or their forehead. And it's okay because they can't tell.
Right.
But you can keep talking to them. But if you want to really surprise somebody at a checkout, look them straight in the eyes and see their name on their tag. Say, hey, thanks, Joe, or whatever their name is.
Right.
And they're like, oh, hey, thanks. Yeah, I do it all the time because one, they're humans. They deserve it, right?
Right.
But two, it also always throws them off guard. So I encourage y'all, next time you go to your grocery store or whatever and the person's scanning, checking you out, let's do self-checkout. But know their name tag before they say, here's your receipt. And you look them straight in the eye and say, hey, thanks, Melissa.
Right.
And they're like, oh, yeah, hey. It throws them off because people don't do that. They always they don't even look at each other. Anyway, so eye contact, it sounds simple. Needs to be done. Next. So this is getting very subtle, right? Angle toward the person you're talking to. And we touched on that a little bit. But the reality is, if you're not facing me and I'm talking to you, I'm assuming you're ignoring me at this point.
Right.
Or you have something else better to do.
Right.
So, and it sounds so like, okay, here's an example. Like, go into the doctor's office, you're in the actual room with the doctor, and they're checking their chart, they're reading stuff. But if you're sitting on the little bed thing and they're standing there reading, but they're like almost facing away from you while they're doing it, they're trying to leave.
Right.
That's the mentality I'm getting. Like they're
gone.
They're just reviewing something so they can review it and they got to move on. Pull away a clipboard, face them, talk to them, give them eye contact, open their arms. Sounds so easy, but it makes all the difference.
Yeah, if you will just, and that's what I was talking about a minute ago, is you have my attention in this office when I back up and lean back in my chair and I angle it to you or I face you.
Yeah,
right? Like I'm moving to give you my attention. To me, it's a sign of respect.
Yeah,
like I respect you enough to face you, look you in the eyes, smile, and give you my body language. But I think that face-to-face time is huge, especially in a medical practice, especially if I'm wanting to see my doctor, my chiropractor, my physician, any of that. Like, sit down in the little rolly chair that you always put in the corner, right? I may be up, I may be sitting up on a table. I don't care. Sit in the little rolly chair, set the pad down, and just look at me. All right, Nick, what's going on, man?
Well, so that actually brings back good memories. I've had a doctor or two where they hop in that little rolly chair and you hear that noise, they're wheeling around. And then honestly, to take it a step further, and this kind of goes against some of the things we said, but if a doctor has like something on their clipboard that represents whatever the element I'm dealing with, they get on that chair, they turn around and go right beside me and say, let me show you what we're dealing with here.
So that's called shoulder time. That to me is just as important as face-to-face time.
Yeah, if you can't get the shoulder time, that's when face-to-face time is important. But but it's that reality that you're what do you call it? Like you're reducing your guard. Like you dropped your guard, you dropped your barriers. Now you're entering a what they call like your personal zone more because of that. But you're doing it because you want to, like the doctor wants to show you what's going on and wants to spend a little time with you. Mm-hmm. The time may only be 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes makes all the difference in the world.
You know, I have an autistic child, and when Preston is unable to express himself, we have a little sheet and we just get next to him. And his doctors do this as well. Just point to how you feel.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know what made me think of that, but it was just like that sheet.
Yeah.
Here, come here. Let's get on the same page on how you feel. You're having a hard time expressing yourself. Show me where it hurts. Show me what's going on. Show me your emotion. And it's got 30 different emojis on there, and he'll point to it, and then it'll open up his brain.
And last one here. This should be an obvious, but man, it is a problem. Ignore your devices.
I used to have a major issue with this. I think I lost one of the biggest opportunities I ever had.
Oh, the Apple Watch?
Yeah, because of the Apple Watch. And for those of you who have an Apple Watch, it feels like when you're getting a notification, it kind of like taps your wrist to get your attention, right? Yep. And buzzes and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into that story here other than to say it was such a big deal that I sold that watch. This isn't an Apple Watch. This is a knockoff. Anyway, but my favorite thing that Apple has come out with, I don't know if Android's probably had this for forever, but they have what's called a focus mode now.
Oh, yeah.
And I just, like, when I go into a meeting, I turn on focus. It turns off every notification. And if it's an emergency, they'll call twice and then it'll put them through. But man, ignore your devices. And I had such an issue with that. And I'm not trying to make an Apple plug, but I love that feature.
Well, so I'll say this too. So obviously there are doctors out there that you have to have a device to input your notes and so forth. But at the same time, it's okay that you make some notes without the device and then load them up right afterwards. Right. Because the reality is it's really frustrating if I am talking to a doctor and they have their tablet in front of them and they're making notes. They're not looking up from it. They're just, yep, okay. Well, we're going to prescribe that. All right, great. Anything else you like? And it gets really personal part of it. And medical is still personal,
right?
No matter what.
Well, I love technology, Michael. I love technology.
I love turning it off.
And I carry my iPad with me into our meetings and stuff like that, and I take notes. But if I don't turn that focus mode on, you'll just see the notifications coming in. So as a healthcare provider of any type, whether that be retail healthcare or otherwise, I understand you're putting things into a device or a computer. What Michael's trying to make the case is just like let it be a tool. And keep your personal touch face-to-face, smiling with your body language. Let them know that you care that they're in that room with you. And that is going to make you profitable because that is going to make you approachable.
Yeah, because, if you're just not convinced of this, go look at your Google reviews that you've gotten. Look at the bad ones. Find the common denominator. Some of them are going to be dumb reviews. That's just the thing. Or you can never make that person happy. But there's probably a common denominator. Right. And if you're still not convinced, go look at your competitors' reviews. And if they're all 5 stars,
what are they doing right?
What is the common thing going on? Because chances are there's something that they're doing very, very well. And it's really possible that the experience is what's driving that. Because we all know a good experience is hard to get a review for. A bad experience is super easy to get a review for.
No doubt.
Every single time. So anyway, want to touch on the 5 things that can help you become more approachable. There's more to this. There's more depth to this. But if you do these 5 things, chances are you're going to see improvements across the board. Even the way you interact with each other on staff makes a huge difference. So if you want to if you have trouble with people say, I don't think that person respects me or likes me, and like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, just look at the body language.
Sometimes it's that you just don't like them.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't.
I get that too.
But your body language will reveal that.
Yes, exactly. And if that's an important relationship, you have to learn how to control your body language, your smile, your eye contact, your leaning in toward them and messing with your devices because you have lots of reasons not to.
Yeah, because you got to be intentional. All right, so the 5 things again, real quick: body language, smile, eye contact, angle toward the person you're talking to, and ignore your devices. Alrighty, that was another episode. That was every single time. But anyway,
we managed to keep it right under the 30-minute mark. Real quick, while we do that, we just want you to be able to get in, listen to an episode, get some value, get out. And if you're getting value, please leave us a review.
Please
leave us a review.
If you want to see our eye contact, go check us out on the video.
There you go.
We're looking at you right now.
All right.
Okay.
Y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.